Beirut, the capital of Lebanon. Home to stunning coastline, beautiful architecture, and some exotic cuisine.
So this is the traditional hummus.
Offered by 39-year-old CEO Christine Sphere.
I'm a very passionate person. I love opening new restaurants and opening new concepts. And I think to succeed, I really need to love what I do, to give it to the max and to give it 100%.
Christine is the head of 3 restaurant brands in the city. The vegetarian Green Falafel, the Semsam chain offering traditional Lebanese cuisine with a modern twist, and the US franchise Dunkin' Donuts, which she opened when she was just 22.
When you're 22, you don't think that there is a possibility of failure. And I think this is what's been driving me. I started very young. I never thought that I would fail, so I just did it.
But running a restaurant chain in the politically unstable Lebanon can make for an unpredictable business environment.
The turmoil that has been ongoing in Lebanon affected the way we are and the way we run our businesses. You see war, you see problems, you see ongoing hassles. I think the stress level is higher here than any other part of the world, but it has the positive impact of making us much more flexible, adaptable. You know, we can adapt to change quickly, and this is important in today's global economy.
When Christine brought the American chain Dunkin' Donuts to Lebanon, she was part of a new wave of global brands arriving in Beirut.
I think Pizza Hut and KFC were the first to open. And then we opened. A few months later, we had McDonald's. I think a year later, we had Starbucks coming. So you had one Burger King. So one franchise after the other started opening in Beirut. And now you can find everybody.
Having imported a bit of America to Lebanon, Christine now hopes to export her Semsam brand. Within the next 12 months, she plans to have 10 operating restaurants across the Middle East before expanding into North America.
Now that we've covered all of the Middle East, and by end of 2014 we'll be open in most, if not all, Middle Eastern countries. Now the next big dream is going to be the US.
I think that Lebanese cuisine is wonderful, but it hasn't evolved. You haven't had a lot of chefs that have taken risks with trying new recipes and trying to make new things, and Christine has done that. I think that she's kind of starting a sort of a mini revolution in the Lebanese cuisine.
For Christine, getting the customer experience right is vital for her ambition to succeed in the United States, a culture famous for its high service values. In preparation for her expansion, Christine has rented a new site in the city and is developing it to become a model of how her brands will operate in the US.
This site is very special because it's on a major street in the heart of Beirut. This building is presently being completely renovated. It was bombed during the war, but never used since. What's so special about this site is that we're opening the 3 brands, Semsam, Green Falafel, and Dunkin' next to each other. And it's the first time that we build them as a cluster. Because every brand needs to have a clear identity and be completely separate. It's the first time where we're opening Semsam in an express, quick service kind of format. And the reason we're doing it, because this is what we think will do very well in the US and in Europe. So we're testing it here before taking it to other major markets. Good.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
For Christine and her brands, exporting to the US is not just desirable, it's vital for her economic survival.
We're at a very challenging size at the moment because we're not small anymore and we're not very large yet. We expect to double by the end of 2015. So the stage of moving from a medium-sized company to hopefully a large-size company is very challenging because you have procedures and rules and regulation of a large company, but you don't have the income and the resources of a large company yet. So we're at the stage where we have to really decide on every penny in investment, where to invest it to trigger this growth. I don't think Lebanon will be stable in my lifetime. To be able to sustain from a business perspective, you need some stability. You need to be able to make long-term plans. We only make plans for next month. We cannot make plans for next year or for a 5 years plan. So opening in other countries, in the region and hopefully outside of the region as well, give us this stability, and this is, gives us a way to keep growing and to know that in 10 years we can still be here.
The events of the last few days graphically illustrate her point. Christine is planning on launching her newest and largest Semsum restaurant at the end of the week. She's organized a huge red carpet media event to celebrate its opening. But business is taking a knock.
Last night was very frustrating because the whole road was completely empty. We had few tanks, army tanks, going up and down the street, so it wasn't very pleasant. But I guess we are used to it, and we know that tomorrow is going to be better. So this is why I always say Lebanese are optimists. All the pessimistic people have left already. From a business perspective, there are, of course, some cultural differences, some things that people would like, people won't like. But from a business perspective, you'll be surprised how similar it is to run a business in the different parts of the world.
Christine believes her time running the American Dunkin' Donuts franchise has proved a fertile learning ground.
From our experience with working with an American brand for the past 17 years, the customer service in the US is very structured. And I like this structure. I like the fact that there are steps and there are way of handling customer comments. There are procedure on how to handle different guests. In the Middle East, usually it's more an informal approach. So what we're trying to do is to combine between the two. So we do have steps and we have procedure, and we'll try to work the American way, but to add to it as well.
The combination of these two business approaches can be seen in Christine's stores. Firstly, the North American method of serving customers.
We grind the coffee in the stores and then we brew them, and they stay for 18 minutes. After 18 minutes, we throw them away. And as you can see, you can have an idea of the sales of the store, or how a store is performing by the number of brewed coffee they have. For example, here we have 2, 3 pots, 4 pots, and another one that is brewing. So this means that they are sure that they could be selling those in the next 18 minutes.
And second, the Middle Eastern approach to hospitality, where customers might not be in such a hurry to eat on the run.
Every store has different furniture depending on the location and the community around it. In this particular location, we're on the main highway. So as you can see, all the tables and chairs are done for people that are coming for a few minutes to grab their coffee, their donut, their breakfast, read their newspaper, and keep going. Other location will have more couches, comfortable seating, if the guest will come and stay for a longer period of time.
As part of her ambitious expansion plans, Christine is due to launch her newest and biggest Semsum restaurant at the end of the week. She's planning a huge media launch, but the recent military action in the nearby town of Cedar has put the whole event in jeopardy. Christine is meeting with her PR team to discuss whether she should still go ahead with a large-scale red carpet party, or whether she should just cancel it completely.
What I'm worried about is really the backlash on the brand. So if, let's say, we decide to keep doing it, and Thursday at 6 p.m. something happens, and of course people will not show up first, maybe few will show up, so it will not be a nice atmosphere, and it might reflect negatively on the brand. We're doing this dinner while soldiers are being buried. But I'm not sure it's going to be decent from our side to have, this big event while people are being buried.
One of the strengths of this country is that life goes on, and the power of living goes and beats the power of just surrendering to fate and just being defeatist. We're sad because we lost people, but we're happy because life can go on, and I would keep it.
If we do it in a soft way, would the media enjoy themselves? Because we really want them to enjoy and to write nice articles about Semsum. If they are not in the right mood, it might backfire on us. This is what I'm worried about, because we're still, today we still have many things that might happen by tomorrow or by Thursday morning.
With military activity still present on the streets, Christine is forced into making a very difficult decision.
We decided to call off our media launch event and do a small gathering instead. We didn't find it was right to do a big launch event while we have funerals and we had a lot of tragic events happening.
I think we've come up with the right decision, and it's a nightmare, yes, but we've been living this for the past 40 years. Christine has put her heart and soul into this project. It's like her little baby, and it's beautiful when you look at it. It's amazing. It's very unfortunate what's been happening in the past few days. Nobody wanted that.
And my grandmother used to tell me that God will not send you a problem if you cannot solve it. So if you are faced with this problem, this means that you can solve it. So I always remember this every time we're faced with a crisis, small or big. And I think of, okay, I can solve this. Let's look at different angles to understand from where I can solve it. Of course, this turmoil, ongoing crisis management is difficult to handle on a day-to-day basis. We've been good at it, but I think we're good enough now. We should stop and try to get to learn how to manage in stable situation. I'm looking forward in some countries where we're going to be in a more stable environment. It's going to be a new experience for us.